Hey guys, it's Yuta. So, many of you guys like watching anime and want to learn Japanese, so why not do both? You can watch any anime as long as you are watching it in Japanese and not relying on the subtitles. If you understand it enough to know what's going on, even though you don't understand 100%, that's okay. Of course, anime characters speak Japanese a bit differently from real-life Japanese people, as I've been talking about on this channel, but as long as you know the differences, it's fine. And if you are serious about learning Japanese and paying attention, you will learn these differences. You can also watch my other videos to learn more about this topic. Having said that, some anime are better than other anime when it comes to learning Japanese, especially for beginners because they might use practical everyday vocabulary or simple expressions and easy sentences. Some anime on Netflix have Japanese captions, which is great for learning Japanese. So today, I'm gonna talk about some anime I recommend for people who are learning Japanese. Number 1, からかい上手のTakagi-san or Teasing Master Takagi-san. This will be my number 1 recommendation among anime I've watched, and it's also my favorite anime of all time. It's good for learning Japanese because they use everyday vocabulary and simple sentences. The characters also speak very slowly. The story is quite easy to follow too, as the premise is very simple. Takagi-san teases Nishikata, her classmate that she likes. The way she teases isn't really mean. It's often doing or saying something slightly romantic and watch Nishikata being embarrassed. Both of the characters are so cute and very fun to watch. This anime is very relatable to me because many things that the characters do remind me of my preteen years. I just find myself constantly smiling watching this anime. So highly recommend it.
じゃあ高木さんはどうするのさ。
まずは可愛い服を買って、あと靴とカバン買って、で、好きな人と旅行でも行きたいな。
You may find the second season on Netflix and the first season on Crunchyroll, depending on your location, and Netflix has Japanese captions. Each episode is mostly independent, so it's totally fine if you skip the first season and watch the second season first. This anime is pretty easy, but you obviously have to know some Japanese to understand. So if you want to learn Japanese with me, I will teach you the kind of Japanese the Japanese people today actually speak, which can be good foundations to understand anime too. So click the link in the description and subscribe. Number 2, 千と千尋の神隠し or Spirited Away. I probably don't have to explain this anime as it's one of the most popular Ghibli anime. It's a story about the girl, Chihiro, who wanders into a strange world where they transformed her parents into pigs. She needs to find a way to convert her parents back into human, as well as find her way back home. Eventually, she finds a job at a huge bathhouse where she learns important life lessons. I actually watched this anime when I was learning French because the official DVD has a French dub and the quality was just superb. So you can use it to learn Japanese too.
こら、何をする？
上へ行くんです。
ダメだダメだ。あ、ちょっと。
欲しくない、いらない。
The good thing about this kind of critically acclaimed anime is that you can watch it over and over again and it's still enjoyable. This works really well when you are learning a language. Spirited Away is probably a bit more difficult than Takagi-san, but it's still good for intermediate levels. It can also be a nice change from your average high school anime or shonen anime. So highly recommend it. You can also find it on Netflix depending on your location, and it also has Japanese captions, which is great. Number 3. やはり俺の青春ラブコメは間違っている or OreGairu or my teen romantic comedy snafu. You guys probably already know this, but I just love this anime and I tweet about it all the time as I'm watching season 3. I always look forward to the next episode every week. This anime is a bit more difficult, so I recommend this for more advanced learners. Not only is this a great anime, it also offers you a lot of cultural and linguistic insights. The way characters communicate is often very indirect, just like real-life Japanese people. I like how realistic some characters are, especially Yui. If you can understand OreGairu entirely in Japanese, I think your Japanese is pretty good. Try watching the last few episodes of season 2. These are some of the most indirect conversations that I've come across in an anime. They sometimes almost sound cryptic, so if you can understand these dialogues in Japanese, props for you.
ユキノンの今抱えてる問題、私答え分かってるの。多分それが私たちの答えだと思う。私が勝ったら全部もらう。
何一つ具体的なことは言わなかった。口に出してしまえば確定してしまうから、それを避けてきたのだ。
The anime also makes fun of how some characters always say some words, such as 受ける and it also makes fun of some types of Japanese people which we have names for, such as 意識高い系, which I talked about in another video.
ロジカルシンキングで論理的に考えるべきだよ。
There's just so much you can learn from this anime in terms of culture and language, so if your Japanese is already pretty good, I definitely recommend this. Number 4. Haikyuu. This is yet another anime I don't have to explain because it's a very popular volleyball anime. And I think the way the characters speak Japanese is very practical for somebody who is learning Japanese. It's a good anime to learn different levels of respectfulness because the characters choose the appropriate level depending on who they are talking to. When they talk to their senpai, they use keigo or respectful language. And when they talk to their classmates or kohai, which means lower grade students, they use non-keigo or plain language.
行くぞ。明日の朝から俺がトスあげたろっか。
本当にですか？
スパイクの練習したいんだろ。
This is something everybody has to learn because choosing the appropriate level is extremely important in Japanese. When we speak Japanese, we are always 100% of the time aware of this. If you choose the wrong level, it may sound incredibly rude or incredibly awkward, so you want to avoid this. But in many anime, many characters actually don't respect this because anime and real life tend to have different standards, but the characters in Haikyuu do respect. So, I'd recommend this anime. If you want to be proficient in Japanese, you need to get a lot of input and be exposed to Japanese for many hours. And anime can help you a lot. It's also a good idea to use a variety of resources and not just anime. But even if you watch a lot of anime, I recommend watching many different types of anime and pay attention to how the characters speak. It's also important not to rely on the subtitles because if you're just reading the subtitles, you're not learning Japanese. So if you don't understand anything without the subtitles, you need to learn the basics first. And if you want to learn Japanese with me, I will teach you the kind of Japanese that real-life Japanese people today actually speak, which can also help you understand anime in Japanese. So click the link and subscribe to my email group, Japanese with Yuta. Alright, see you guys soon. Ciao, ciao!